So good afternoon and welcome to our panel today, Engage Your Staff and Change Your Culture, One Step at a Time. My name is Christina Santoro. I am the Director of Clinical Education here with Get Well Network, and I am also the nurse planner for the conference, so I really hope that you are enjoying the sessions in the program. If there is any issue with the program, then I am not the nurse planner for the conference and will blame someone else. So during today's session, our presenters from the Valley Hospital and University Health System will share their experiences surrounding staff training, something that is very near and dear to my heart. The Connected Health journey doesn't really end at deployment, and in fact, that's just the beginning. There are simple steps to optimize your capabilities while driving staff and patient utilization. Our panelists are going to share their training strategies, including resources and processes that they used that were proven to engage frontline staff. After hearing from our presenters, as in the other sessions today and tomorrow, I will open the floor to you to ask questions of our wonderful panelists. It's my pleasure to introduce today's panelists. First, we have Nancy Barrett-Fajardo. She is the Director of Medical Surgical Services at the Valley Hospital in Ridgewood, New Jersey. She is passionate about patient and family experiences and improving outcomes. Nancy has been a member of the hospital's Interactive Patient Care Steering Team since 2015. Our second presenter, Randy Blakemore, is from the University Health System. Ms. Blakemore graduated from Texas Christian University in 2011. After several years of travel nursing in 2017, Randy found her home in the cardiology and transplant acute care unit at University Health System. She stepped into the role of unit educator of cardiology and transplant at the end of 2018. With that position came the role of system manager clinical lead for Get Well Network, and we call that other duties as assigned. In 2019, Randy transitioned to a supervisory role and assumed the title of patient care coordinator on that same unit. She still functions as the clinical lead and is passionate about engaging staff and enhancing the patient experience with Get Well Network. Michael Payne graduated from Baylor University School of Nursing in 2000 and has served as a nurse at University Health System in San Antonio, Texas since then. He was initially a bedside nurse in the transplant intensive care unit and then a day shift supervisor. He earned his Master's of Science in Nursing at the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio. He's currently the executive director of the 20-bed ICU, 52-bed ACU, and the central monitoring room at University Hospital, which provides care to all transplant, cardiothoracic, and cardiology patients at University Hospital, managing just a small staff of 250 people. Currently, Michael is the executive sponsor of the Patient Experience Committee and the Get Well Network Executive Director. So I know that you've heard this all morning, but we have to be official. So before we get started, I need to share a disclosure statement with you. The Maryland Nurses Association is an accredited provider of continuing nursing education by the American Nurses Credentialing Center's Commission on Accreditation. Say that again. No, I won't, I promise. If you wish to receive credit for the activity and any of the activities of the breakout sessions, we ask that you complete your session survey in the app itself. In that app, you will want to make sure that you are completing the questions, but most importantly, that you are providing your name and your email, because that is what I will use to send you your CEAC certificates within 30 days from the conference. I know there were also questions earlier today. All of the presentations from the conference will be posted on our online community, also within 30 days of the conference. So, in compliance with the continuing education activity credit conflict of interest disclosure requirements, we'd like to announce that the presenters of this session have no commercial interest that would create a conflict of interest. I'd like to welcome Nancy to start our presentation today.
Thanks, Kristen. So Thank you very much, and I am really excited to be here to share with you how Valley Hospital has utilized techniques to engage their staff. Just a little history on Valley Hospital. Valley is a 451-bed acute care hospital. It has a robust cardiac program, an OB program. We're also certified in stroke, as well as we have a very large total joint program. Our ED is one of the busiest EDs. We see approximately 70,000 visits per year, and we're also we're the second busiest hospital in New Jersey based on our admissions. Our hospital is located in Ridgewood, New Jersey, which is the northern part of New Jersey, and we're in a very competitive market. What we've seen is, what we're proud, I apologize. So we do have, we're about 10 miles from the suburbs of New York City. And New York City obviously has many comprehensive medical centers. So sitting on the suburbs of New York City, we know that we're in a very competitive market. We also have about 7 other hospitals just in New Jersey within 10-mile radius. So we know that we need to be a very high-performing organization because we have stiff competition, and we are. What I'm proud to share with you are some of our recognitions that we've received as a hospital. Among them, we received our 4th magnet recently, and we're also received Beacon Award for 4 of our critical care units as well as our NICU unit. So knowing that the competition is tight, we partnered with Get Well Network back in 2016. And we started our process by including frontline staff from the very beginning. What we did was we created a vision with them at the table. We created it in a design process with Get Well that really factored on the tenets of patient-family-centered care, which is the culture of our organization. What we did was we had them at the table to create this vision that really focused on partnership, collaboration, information sharing, and respect, while driving efficiency, high-quality care for all that were interacting with our system. Looking back, a little background of our Get Well Network strategic plan, we included our frontline staff to be a part of our robust steering team that we created in 2016. When we went live with Get Well Network, we went live in 20 inpatient units, our ED, same-day surgery, same-day medicine, our infusion center, as well as CDU. So it was a pretty vast area that we implemented. Most important, what we decided was at those steering meetings, and what I'm showing on the screen here is that this is who participated in our steering team, was that we needed frontline and PCAs, nurses and PCAs, to be a part of our steering team because they were going to be interacting with the system every single day. And we knew that in order to have the full capacity of Get Well Network and interactive care and to get the return on investment, we needed them to help us build that. So how do we measure success of the platform that we were implementing? So our steering team, again, the frontline staff, looked at our HCAP scores, our Press-Ganey scores, and then we also looked closely at how we're utilizing the system. In the past, Valley had been very successful, and still is successful, with how they rank in their HCAP scores. At some point, we had been #1 in the New Jersey State for nurse communication. So we had the frontline team take a look at how are we doing as an organization with our HCAP scores, and how can we utilize Get Well Network to bring back more consistency. As I had pointed out earlier, we're in a very competitive market. So therefore, because of the competitive market, we knew that we needed to up our game. And we figured, let's have the frontline staff help us identify the goals and then set the targets. Valley decided that to really become #1 in patient experience, this was going to be our changing point. So we shared the metrics on the board with the frontline staff and the steering team and said, we've noticed that we're plateauing a little bit on our nurse communication, and there definitely was opportunity for our med communication. We knew that as an organization, we needed to align our strategy of saying we want to be #1 in patient experience in New Jersey. We knew that we needed to align that and have the interactive team really focus on helping us get there. So we took a look at our orientation. We took a look at the utilization of the system in general. So we took a look at when we're onboarding our patients, and then how are we utilizing it consistently through their entire hospital stay. And we said, let's look at the different features GetWell offers and see where the opportunities are. What we noticed was onboarding, we were okay because we had a signed video that we had created that showed how to use GetWell Network, as well as some of the important quality safety initiatives that we were partnering with our patients. And that was created in the video and shown to all our patients. And we were doing great. That would be demonstrated by our high percentage of utilization of the orientation. Where we noticed there was a gap was our med teaching. We noticed that we weren't doing as great with utilizing that one component, and we said this might be a great place for us to focus on as a steering team to drive those HCAPs of nurse communication and med communication. So how did we do it? So in 2017, one of our strategic goals of the organization was to really focus on patient experience and making us one of the best systems available in the state of New Jersey. We are a standalone hospital, so this is a challenge for us that we know that we need to really exceed on. So we brought it to the steering team, used the front line to achieve the targets. We set realistic unit goals in which the frontline staff fed into, and then they also formatted the plan. So how do we get the work done? So we did some unit goals on their evaluations. We tied it into if our overall strategic goal was to be number one and to be really the choice for our patients, we knew that we needed to have some leverage, and we put it on the unit goals for our staff. We also utilized weekly report cards so that there was always transparency and they were hearing the information. We did intra-unit competitions because we know everybody loves a good competition, and trophies and candy work great. And we also wanted to make sure we were doing positive reinforcement. So we would do reward and recognition for anyone that was really showing consistent use with the platform. And then monthly winners. So one of our first areas that really embraced this and created one of the best workflows was our geriatric unit. And what this demonstrates that I'm showing here today is that they set their goal so that it aligns with our overall organization. They then engaged their administrative assistant to help them create templates and report cards. We engaged the nurse managers and clinical shift supervisors to really make sure that people were consistently utilizing the system, and then awarding. And these are some of the tools. So on the left top corner is our teaching sheet that's done daily. It's filled in by the staff nurses of who they med taught. Keys, which is a recognition we use at our hospital, they can trade them in for gift cards, are then given to people for utilization of the system. The report card on the right top corner is the one that goes out weekly. Our AAs just pull the data right from the management console. They fill it in. We also have another one that goes out with how we're doing with our nurse communication and med communication HCAP tool. And then we award the champions, and we'll give like Dunkin' Donut gift cards to the top people for the month, or maybe a gift card for coffee at our hospital coffee shop. So how did it work? So as you can see here, we really increased significantly our med teaching events from when we first implemented the system, and then once we set that goal in 2019, we tripled how many med teaching events were occurring. So how did that translate to our HCAPs? What you can see here is this is our geriatric division, one of our first adopters of the process, and the nurse communication score really took off once they implemented it in the Q1 of 2019, and it stayed consistent. As same with med communication, and that's a difficult population to be med teaching, and they really did an amazing job. Overall, nurse communication for our hospital also saw a very nice increase as other units got on board. The next step of our engagement was when we spoke to our steering team, was that we found that there was some opportunity for understanding the why it was so important to be utilizing GetWell consistently with every patient. We also knew that it was important that they understand how to do it. And we wanted to make sure we were onboarding all the patients consistently the same way. So the steering team really said we want to develop a video, and in the video we can show them why it's so important to embrace Get Well Network and show it from different disciplines and how they utilize Get Well Network, not just the nurses and PCAs. And then the front line said we also want to show how a nurse or a PCA can incorporate it on their workflow. So next I'm just going to show the quick video that we assigned to all our different RNs and PCAs to show how they can utilize Get Well Network, and then I'll show you some data that we did for surveying of the efficacy of the video.
The Get Well Network keeps me connected to my care team. I can contact the different departments to provide feedback or obtain assistance.
In my line of work, the Get Well Network makes it easy for me to connect with my patients in a way that I never thought was possible.
With the Get Well Network, we can educate our patients which medications they'll be prescribed and thus offer those prescriptions to be filled at our Meds to Beds retail pharmacy.
Get Well Network offers an interactive way for patients to be seen by a dietitian and/or dining ambassador. It also provides real-time feedback to provide information so dining ambassadors can intervene immediately with patients' meals.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith. My name is David. I'm going to be your patient care associate today. I just want to introduce you to our patient education system called the Get Well Network. What this tool does is helps us to communicate with you, your family, and also while your stay here at the hospital. This isn't just to watch TV. This is to help us interact with you, communicate with your family as well while you're here at the hospital. We're going to start the video now to orient you through the hospital, through different screens, and it's also another tool to keep you safe while you're here. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, David.
I just settled Mr. Smith in bed, took his vital signs, reviewed and started the videos on Get Well Network.
Okay, thanks. Sounds good. I'm going to head in there now. Hi, Mr. Smith. How are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Good. My name is Kelly. I'll be your nurse. I saw that David started the Get Well Network for you and also showed you the introductory video. I'm here to do your admission assessment, but I wanted to see if you had any questions on that video first.
No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, great. So now that I've completed my admission assessment with you, I wanted to review some other features of the Get Well Network. You might get some pop-ups on the screen from time to time, either with a question or a message, and those are important for us because they give some real-time feedback on how well we're caring for you, and it also gives you some information on educational tools and medications. So if you look up at the screen, you'll see that the larger boxes are going to contain the most important information, and that's going to be some educational videos and also your medications. The smaller boxes on the bottom, you can recognize an employee for exceptional care, you can watch TV or movies, or you can contact another department. And now we can take a look at the medications that your doctor has ordered for you while you're here. So if you go in to see your medications, it's going to give you a prompt for a code, and that's actually going to be your 4-digit birth year. Once you're in, you'll be able to see all the medications that the doctor has prescribed for you in the hospital, and each one you'll be able to see the indication for use and also the side effects. Did you have any questions about that?
No.
Okay, let's go into review Lovenox. That's a new medication that the doctor prescribed for you here. So if you've understood what you've read about the medication, you can give us the thumbs up, or you can choose a question mark if you have further questions. And a nice feature here is that you can email the information to yourself as well. And you'll also be getting a prompt on the television if there's any new medication that's ordered for you. You can review that independently, but also know that we'll review it with you afterwards as well. So Mr. Smith, I see that you watched the Lovenox video that I had ordered for you earlier. Did you have any questions on that?
No, that was good.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Smith.
Hi, Kelly.
This is Rose. She'll be your nurse tonight. Hi, Mr. Smith. We're just going to be doing bedside shift reporting. And Rose, he was actually able to watch the Lovenox video on the Get Well Network. Seems that you have a good understanding of the indication for it and also the side effects. There's going to be one more video that's up there in the network for you to watch, and that's going to be on smoking cessation. And we'd like for you to watch that. So Rose, will you be able to make sure that he's finishing that video tonight? Absolutely. Do you have any other questions for us?
So what we found was we rolled that out to all the nurses and the PCAs in the hospital on the inpatient side. We decided to measure before we implemented that video, though, was how frequently were they using it. So we sent out a survey monkey to the nurses asking 3 important questions. We asked them how frequently do they use it with their patients, how comfortable are they onboarding a patient, and then how comfortable are they with the various other features. And as you can see from the video, we really tried to highlight the other opportunities for the features of Get Well Network. And the results from, after they watched the video, they then were sent another survey monkey asking them those same 3 questions. And we really saw some great results. The blue line, the dark blue line indicates that we saw a nice increase under the Get Well introduction, as well as the other features for being very comfortable and somewhat comfortable, which were the top 2 scores of our 5 Likert sale that we sent out. We also found that they were using it and committing to using it more on a daily use with each patient and daily with 2 and 3 patients than they had previous of watching the survey. So we saw some great results from the survey that they created at that steering team by designing it. So just in conclusion, so we found that engaging them from the very beginning really is engaging the front line from the very beginning is really what can drive our system, aligning them with our own strategic goals, and again, by having them at that table. Onboarding, making sure you explain the why and the how, and doing it in a creative way, such as creating your own homegrown video to address the gaps that they may bring forward, and then just making it fun. Thank you. At this point, I'd like to introduce Randy. No, you're done. Oh, sorry.
Hello, so again, my name is Michael Payne. I'm the executive director for this HVI transplant unit at University Hospital. So to start off with a little bit about University, sorry, let me advance my slide here. There we go. A little bit about University. We are a 640-bed academic teaching hospital in San Antonio, Texas, which you may or may not know is the 7th largest city in the country. Our service area starts all the way down at the U.S.-Mexico border and goes up through San Antonio and even towards Austin, and then all the way into West Texas, and then on the eastern side, our service area kind of borders with the Houston Medical Center. So it's a really very large piece of South Texas that we serve. We are a level 1 adult trauma center and a level 1 pediatric trauma center, the only non-military level 1 trauma center in our area. So our ER is also very busy. We're about to have our 3rd magnet designation, so we are also a magnet facility. And we partner with University of Texas Health Science Center, San Antonio, so that's our medical center. This is actually adjacent to and sort of attached to our hospital. So that's kind of our hospital. Our signature service lines mainly consist of transplant, trauma, neurosurgery, and our HVI system. So our Get Well Network partnership is not quite as, the longevity of it is not as long as you've heard from the previous presenter. We started in May of 2018, so we're a little bit more younger in our relationship with Get Well Network, but, oops. Can I go back? Maybe not. So we went live in 2018, and our initial data reports showed us that we were really, really good at getting our patients to use Get Well Network. So we were super proud of ourselves and patting ourselves on the back and patting our staff on the back. Our administrators were all very excited as well. But then, we all round, we round on our patients, we round on our staff. Our supervisors are all rounding, and so it didn't quite mesh up with what we were seeing at the bedside when we were rounding at our patients. And so we looked at our data again, came back and said, okay, well, we had about a 90% completion rate with all of our assigned education with our patients. So we just didn't feel like that was accurate. So looking at our data, we found that we did have a lot of auto-assigned videos and educational materials, med sheets and so forth that our patients were pushing out to our patients. And so that's why our numbers were looking so great, because our patients were pretty good at using them if it was sort of shoved in front of their face. What we found out, though, was if you remove all that, we had about a 30% completion rate with our patients for the things that our nurses and our staff, physicians included, were assigning to our patients. And so that's kind of what we wanted to address. So once we found that number and seemed believable, we decided that's what we wanted to go ahead and set about improving. It just didn't seem like it was high enough for what our goal was. So we got a team together. We decided to go on a pilot unit basis because most all of our units have Get Well Network, but we wanted to start with some units, that maybe are a little more willing to change or try something new. So we actually picked our neuro, the HVI unit, and then the trauma unit for our pilot units, and we decided our Get Well system manager, who you're going to hear from, Randy, in just a second, she's going to tell you a lot more specifics, but we decided to use those 3 units, and we liked the number 3, and so we also wanted to get some goals for what our staff thought was achievable. So we had communications with our staff and our technology integration committee, and came up with what we thought was a doable goal of having the nurse touch the Get Well Network 3 times per shift. Most of our nurses have a 1-to-4 patient ratio. Sometimes it's a 1-to-5, but in general, it's 1-to-4. And we just felt like, and the staff feedback that we got felt like that 3 times of touching the system was doable. So our ask of them was to either assign 2 videos and 1 med sheet, or do 2 med sheets and 1 video with any of their patients in their modules. We didn't want to overtax them and hear all the moans about, oh my God, that kind of thing. So that's where we started, and that's what our goal initially was. We wanted to see a 10% increase in the completion rate of our education that was pushed out by staff. So that's how we did it. We started off by also getting unit champions from each of those 3 pilot units. So these are bedside champions. We trained them. We wanted to make sure that they were up to date and fully aware of everything that Get Well Network offered. We felt like the more that we can engage the patient, not just about education and med sheet education, but anything that was within the Get Well Network, we'd have a better chance of getting our patients and our staff to comply, sort of as for them to work in tandem with each other. So we made sure that they knew all the features. We did one-on-one education. Each one of our units has a nurse educator, and so each one of those pilot units worked with not only their directors, so directors were also included in that, but the educators and then our shift supervisors all had to go through mandatory education, and we did a one-on-one teaching with them. We also talked about it at staffed huddles on those 3 pilot units, and then as we round on our staff, we would also, sort of ask, how's Get Well Network for you? Were you able to teach any med sheets today? How many, were you able to handle? And of course, we did a pizza party too, because who doesn't like competition? You got to have pizza and ice cream for those 3 units. So that's kind of how we did that. Took our Power 3 methodology. It was very successful actually on our pilot units, and so from there, we decided to go big bang throughout the rest of the hospital and our Get Well Network units, which is what we did. Oh, sorry, they're a little high. So we wanted to focus. So when we went big bang, we focused again. We felt like our strategy worked, so we focused on director buy-in and then those shift supervisors of all the Get Well Network units. So again, they were all required to go to a mandatory training. We incorporated this in our annual skills fair, which all of our nurses, 100% of them have to go through that. So one of the stations that you had to go to was the Get Well Network station. We have that in our sim lab, and we have the Get Well Network board. And so we actually made the staff go through them and show me how you would teach a med sheet. Show us how you do this and that. And so they had to do return demonstration there. We realized then that we were getting almost all of our staff through that, except for the staff who were newly hired on. And so we also added a Get Well Network session to our new nurse orientation. So it's a quick education about Get Well Network to all of our new staff. So we felt like we were kind of getting everybody at that point. One of the hardest was actually getting our nursing executive directors to do that, so including myself in that category, but we're a little more, or just as resistant as some of the staff are, I guess. And so we made our executive directors be the patients in the sim lab for our training days. So we were the patients in the bed, and so we would actually have to say, show me how to do this, show me how to do that, and if the staff didn't know or whatever, then we would do that return demonstration. And with that, I think it's Randy.
Hello. All right. So at university, one of the things that we do really well when implementing new technologies or
processes or equipment is we take a multifaceted approach to engaging and educating our staff. We also realized very early on that accountability was very much key with our power of three and getting bedside staff involved. So what you see on the left is the competency that was developed for our directors, our patient care coordinators, which are our unit supervisors, and our educators. So all of these people were voluntold to do one-on-one sessions with me, where they had to prove their ability to navigate these features so they could speak to it to their staff. We also included our physical and occupational therapist and our speech-language pathologist in this training as well. At university, they do push out videos and messages to the staff, or to the patients. So we really wanted to get them comfortable and familiar with the system. It's also a great tool for them to teach those, or reteach some of those fine and gross motor skills. So one of the things that is unique about us is we now have we just added another one. We have 2 dedicated training environments to Get Well Network. And this is in our simulation lab. It's open 24/7, so staff can go and play around with it if they want. But at our skills fair, we do hands-on training. So as Michael said, and actually that's a picture of him in the top right, in our patient bed in front of one of our environments. And I'm there to assist the nurses and techs with some of those scenarios that they had to walk through. So Michael would tell them, teach me about my new pain medication. And then one of the staff members would have to go through that entire process. Another scenario was, I know that I'm going to go home with Lovenox. Can you show me that video? So again, they would have to go through that entire process. For our techs, we really wanted to engage them as well. So it was more like, can you show Michael, the patient, how to find the videos? Can you show them, how to find this? Can you assist them with this? So we really emphasize the power of three, those 3 touch points with education during simulation, during our skills fair. And then we also developed an interactive e-learning module, which there's a little screenshot of that on the right lower. So this was mandatory. We pushed it out to all staff, and we gave them 1 month to complete. And I think we had a 88% compliance with that completion. And it, again, walked through every single scenario that we wanted them to know. So the medication teaching, the video, the meal ordering, finding housekeeping, really all those features that we wanted to highlight, we had them do that. With each session, again, like I said, we really emphasize the power of 3 and the 3 touches. And we also gave them tips on how to achieve success. So we told them, night shift, we really encouraged them to play those pre-procedural videos the night before. And then for the techs, we encouraged them to go back to the main screen whenever they're doing vital signs. Say, hey, look, you have a video, or you've got new medications. On one of our initial units, so one of those 3 units, an NRP group, a nurse residency program group, was actually really engaged with Get Well Network. So they came to me with an idea of doing a study. So in our pre-survey, you can see they asked staff how often they use Get Well Network for patient education. Not great, but our intervention was trifold. So this was right before we pushed out the e-learning module. The NRP group also did small group educations on this unit in our huddles, and it re-emphasized the power of 3. This unit also engaged in reporting daily their education utilization on their lean board. So post-survey, while it only looks like 3% increase in those that reported using it all the time, actually 100% of staff surveyed said that they use it at least once for patient education with 1 patient. So that's pretty significant. This unit also saw a 10% increase in utilization during and post-intervention and has maintained that. All right, so how do we keep this momentum going? Like I said, accountability is key for us. So on this graph depicted, this is actually a month of data from GetWell. One of our analysts pulls this over into a little more user-friendly graph, and we report this at our executive leadership. So weekly, we do a weekly roll-up, and then we also do a monthly roll-up as well. We pull out those 3 mandatory videos. We don't include that in our data, just so we can get the most accurate representation of how our patients and our staff are utilizing the system. We are also changing to Epic in May of 2020. So there's a plan to re-roll out GetWell and re-emphasize and re-educate staff. We're also going to revisit that e-learning module and update that to reflect some of our changes, like we're adding whiteboard and some of the other changes that are going to come with Epic. And then, like Nancy, we do plan to develop an introductory video for the patients and family to help them navigate and guide them through the system. So one of the things that we really did, like I said, is push those 3, or re-educate on those 3 touches consistently. We've added a ton of neat features to allow our patients and staff engage with GetWell Network. And then we identified that accountability, repetition of that message, the power of 3, and identifying those key players was really crucial in increasing our utilization.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for our panelists? And I will just ask that if you do have a question, we have purple people running mics, that if you can definitely speak into the mic, that would be great. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your talk. We have a lot of trouble with staff engagement at our facility as well. My name is Joe from Geyser, Southern California. I wanted to ask, for the 3 touches, what does that look like at night? Same expectation, med education, video completion, et cetera?
It is. So we found that, hello, can you hear me? So we found that, like I said, we focus on those pre-procedural videos, and really the best time to do those medication teachings are before 10 p.m. So we encourage staff to do that all before 10. Another time that we encourage it is after 6 a.m.
Okay. And then for those, the power of 3, is that videos assigned or videos completed? We have been having a lot of trouble with the completion rate. There's patients with 11, 20 videos assigned, but none completed.
It's completed. So we also, we had one nurse who I think pushed out 20 videos for one patient and didn't play a single one. So then we went back, it was a learning process, and we said, if you order it, the expectation is that you play it. At least that's the expectation on our unit.
And so when you say expectation, so the structure of accountability is kind of through the nursing leadership rounds?
Correct.
Yeah, when we actually started, we did focus on assigning those sheets, and we actually had a graph very similar to the one that Randy showed, and we showed that to our executive team. But that quickly, just like she said, tons of nurses assigning all kinds of stuff, and just patients still weren't watching it, so we quickly moved from that to viewed. Okay.
But I guess the daily accountability structure is through that nursing leadership rounds. They're able to see those 3 touches?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
And then the education looks amazing that you guys put together. What's going to be the structure of like ongoing education? Are you going to hold something like that yearly for nursing? Is that like when updates happen, things change?
Our skills fair is biannual, and we still have a GetWell Network session in there. So we update it depending on what we've updated with GetWell, and again, we reinforce our power.
So it'll be like a refresher biannually. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
For the managers, nurse managers, do you have like a report that can be run daily so that when we do rounds, we could focus on the staff that's not really doing the education, because it's going to be too hard to be combing all those education if this nurse finished it or not. So do you have that tool?
So So we don't. We rely on our Get Well Network reports, and it is a big data pool every day, and then you just narrow down what was completed and what was not. It's a manual pool.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and at Valley, what we do is we look at the discharge readiness, and we print that out so that people know who has received what education, and then the managers utilize that as well to help identify who's been really interacting with the system based on assignment.
Hi, your pre and post survey to staff, it looked like the several times a week it actually dropped after watching the video. Is that accurate, or was that also, could that be due to over assigning videos, over using GetWell?
So unfortunately, the unit that was pulled is consists of like 200 staff members. So we had the same sample set, but we don't. One of the things that was skewed with that is we don't know if it was the same people that were returned the surveys. So it wasn't super impressive, but the numbers in the utilization post were definitely there.
You guys did an excellent job with the video for the demonstration of the system. Is that copyrighted, or can you share that with us?
They told me you were going to ask that. It was a homegrown video, so at this point it's not available. I don't know if we would be able to make it available. I could go back to my organization and find out. My contact information's there, so you're more than welcome to reach out.
Nancy, would you guys be willing to share the scripting? Not necessarily the video, but the way they scripted that.
Yeah, I could definitely do that.
That would be great. Now, with the video, did you guys utilize your marketing resources to produce
did.
that, or just, okay?
We did. We utilized our marketing, but the script itself was written by the steering team, but the marketing just shot it for us and then, obviously did all the editing.
And it might not compare to Nancy's, because Nancy's really was fantastic, but we do have examples of other clients and their welcome videos that they created that our digital media team can share if you're interested. So if you do have interest in seeing what other hospitals have included in their welcome videos, work with your client services manager and we can provide examples to you.
So my question is, we're from a large academic medical center also in the Southeast. So when you were implementing all of your training with sim labs and integration into the different units, did you have, or how did you go about coordinating all of the different departments to get on board with that? Because we have like patient education, but we also have staff development, we also have clin specs, everybody else. How did you work that out?
So being the system manager and being the one that was doing all that one-on-one education, I had to be flexible to meet their needs, and that's really what I did. So, I had the physical therapy group. I gave them 4 days, and I gave them my entire 12-hour block of time, and they could just come in and go as they wanted. So it really, I saw a lot of people come, mainly because they had to, but just being flexible from my standpoint was what got us there.
So you didn't have to go through the staff development department?
No, so our educators, which is what I was in at that time, it's all our education department that does all of our education, system-wide.
Who else? Anybody else?
I think we might have time for one more question. Anyone?